156.119. Clearly, Parc Fermé and the race stewards not massively bemused with that Parc Fermé infringement. So once the trucks have finished their session, they go into Parc Fermé where they are adjudicated to make sure they are safe and legal. Clearly, there was some sort of issue with the regulations that Norbert Kies's team and truck weren't abiding by. So all of the lap times from qualifying and Superpole have been cancelled. So he will start from the back of the grid, which does gift pole position to Jochen Harm, allowing Adam Lachko, of course, race 2 winner from yesterday, to line up alongside. Looking at Norbert Kies now, you can see just quite how far back it was, and it was one brilliant lap in qualifying indeed. It was a very quick lap, like I say, a 156.119. He really did put the power down with that one, and he knew what he was doing behind the wheel, but what can he do from the back of the grid with that new engine? So it's all down to how he handles that truck heading into race 3 of the weekend. And of course, with race 3 on the way, it does mean that Jochen Harm, of course, 6-time FIA European Truck Racing Championship champion, and he's finished second 3 times as well. So in theory, he's got far superior experience than anybody else on the grid. Starting from pole position, where will he go from there? There is Norbert Kies heading in towards the pit lane. So clearly some sort of disagreement with something. Maybe just a quick pleasure break, potentially, before he heads out for race 3 of the weekend. I understand we may potentially be able to have a look at that pole lap as well, or what was initially the pole lap before it was deemed null and void by the race directors. But if you are just joining us, welcome along to the FIA ETRC. My name is Jack Worrell. I will be guiding you through the action from race 3 and race 4 of this weekend. I was here yesterday and I'm here today as well. If you didn't watch along yesterday, you really did miss out. Qualifying and Superpole were incredibly close. Race 1 was where a lot of the action happened. And then if you were around for race 2, the mid-pack there, wow, what a battle between multiple drivers. Sasha Lenz, Jamie Anderson, Norbert Kies, Shane Brereton was there as well. And Adam Lachko got to the front and really just started to disappear there. And then as soon as Steffi Helm sadly lost the lead from Adam Lachko, she stayed there and finished second overall. And of course, in the Titan class, Theo Calvert finished third overall. So that was his third, in theory, podium of the weekend, because he's won the Chrome class twice and finished third overall. And where is Theo Calvert for this race? He would have started in 8th place, but of course, with Norbert Kies starting from the back of the grid, that will promote him into 7th place. Steffi Helm has been promoted from 7th to 6th, so she will go forward a row on the grid. Keep an eye out for Sasha Lenz as well. He's been very quick throughout this weekend. Other drivers to maybe keep an eye out for, I'd say Andre Kurzim starting, was initially starting in 6th, now up to 5th and taking Antonio Albertetti's position. We do have an interview for number 30. That's Sasha Lenz, the man we just mentioned. Down to you, Chris.
Yeah, Sasha Lenz, English or German, what you prefer? So, Deutsch. There's a new poll. You know what's the reason?
I don't know. We look of us. So I hear nobody have a problem with in the Parc Fermé, but I don't know why. So yeah, now we are in position 3, and I hope we see after the race that we stand here.
So, and what are your expectations for the race? You can answer in German or in English. I also can translate if you like.
No,
Was ist die Erwartung an das Rennen jetzt? Ich kann auf Deutsch, ich kann auf Deutsch antworten, wenn es Ihnen besser gefällt. Ich kann dann auf Englisch übersetzen.
Ja, ich hoffe natürlich, dass wir einen guten Start haben, dass wir unsere Position halten können und vielleicht sogar einen Adam angreifen können. Aber Adam ist auch ein alter Hase, wie alle, die um mich herum stehen. So, ja, wie gesagt, wir gucken auf uns. Ich versuche einen guten Start hinzukriegen und dann werden wir im Laufe des Rennens sehen, ob alles funktioniert, so wie wir es wollen.
Yeah, I asked him about the new pole position, he says he doesn't know what's the real reason. And then I ask him about his expectations for the race, and he says maybe I can attack Adam, and he's hoping for a good race. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Chris, there for a great interview and your brilliant translation skills as well. So Sascha Lenz looking to work his way forward, of course, starting behind Jochen Hahn on pole position. So he will have the inside for turn 1. It will evolve to the outside for turns 2 and 3. Adam Lachko joining him on the front row. I'm really looking forward to seeing Adam Lachko's progress. He's been very quick throughout this weekend, of course, winning race 2 and finishing 4th in race 1 of the weekend. Qualifying on day 1 went fairly well as well. He started on the 3rd row of the grid from 5th place, so everything's going his way. Of course, he did say he likes the rain. Today, thankfully, we do have much drier conditions, and of course there has been more on-track action in between the televised European Truck Racing Championship races. We had the Cup and Tourenwagen Trophy. They had their first race of the day, and the Dutch Truck Racing Cup had their 3rd race of the weekend. So the track has yet further evolved, so more track evolution, more rubber laid down, so the track is only really going to get grippier as the temperature continues to rise throughout the day. We may see once again differing conditions for the drivers to deal with. Some drivers maybe like cooler temperatures, other drivers maybe like the slightly hotter temperatures. So we will have a slight unknown going into the final race of the weekend. But this is, of course, race 3 of the weekend. There is the Iveco S-Way and the Ford F-Max. Norbert Kisch at the tail end of the grid. We have an interview. Down to you, Christopher.
Yeah, Norbert Kisch, we are very surprised why you are here at the last row. What's the reason?
Yeah, unfortunately, we made a little bit of a mistake because we touched the track before the Parc Fermé was open. So we go to the technical checks, where everything was legal, so our truck is legal. They measured the weight, all the measurements, everything was okay. But then we are allowed to go back to the tent, where is the Parc Fermé, where you have to wait and must not touch. But unfortunately, we connected the water to start to feel the water for the race, and that's against Parc Fermé regulations. So that's why they take away the whole qualifying session, which is, I think that's a little bit harsh, but it's the regulations. So this is what we have to deal and try to come from the back of the grid.
How you feel about this, and what is your plan now for the race?
It's obviously it's not good because we should have been on pole position and go for the race win, but we cannot do that now. I think the best we can hope for is to get back to the 8th position and maybe start the reverse grid race from the pole position and try to save as many points as possible.
No, but good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
And back to you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. So the truck is completely legal and race ready. It just so happens that when the truck returns to the paddock and goes underneath the Revaz Racing Team awning, that is where the truck needs to remain there without anybody interacting with it, so the adjudicators can come along, do all their checks. But somebody started putting water back into the truck, refilling the water tanks, presumably for the water-cooled brakes, and of course that then adds weight. Even if they've only added a couple of millilitres, something like that, it has still altered the weight. And as per the regulations, you are not supposed to interact with the truck before it has been given a fresh bill of health from the Parc Fermé adjudicators. There is the Ford F-Max, the official truck of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and I've tried to plug it as much as we can over the weekend. And another little one here. So the new Ford F-Max offers high performance coming through the engine with 500 brake horsepower and 2,500 newton meters of torque, almost half that of our race trucks. We do have another interview. This is Luke Garrett. Down to you, Christopher.
Yeah, Luke Garrett is here. Yesterday you had some problems. You had to put down your truck. What was the reason?
We had in the first race yesterday, the gear stick snapped off in my hand, so we done the whole race with no gear stick. And then the second race yesterday, I had problems with the throttle. I had put the foot down and there was nothing. So hopefully we've sorted the problem.
What is the goal for this race now? Your goals for this race now? What are you aiming at?
To stay where we are, maybe a couple more places would be good.
Good luck, and I hope the gear stick is fixed now. Thank you. Back to you.
So quite an odd little issue there for Luke Garrett, the gear stick snapping off in race 1 of the weekend. And to be fair, he still crossed the line and did so amply ahead of Luis Rietbank, who I think potentially retired from that race later on. But Luke Garrett still out and ready for race 3 of the weekend. And of course, we did see the retirements, like Chris mentioned, from race 2 with a throttle issue. That is why, when we spoke to him later on, he said he just had no power. So he's putting his foot to the floor, and the truck wasn't really going anywhere. But engines have been started, mechanics and teams are leaving the grid in readiness for the race start. And it's just all about the build-up now. We've got to wait for the green flag. Of course, we do get the warming up lap. It is a rolling start here for the European Truck Racing Championship as per all rounds. And while everybody is just vacating the grid, we can quickly go back to the Ford F-Max. Like I was saying, it's the high performance engine provides around about 500 brake horsepower, 2,500 newton meters of torque, and 400 kilowatts of braking power. And all that coupled with the superior aerodynamics and the powertrain calibration, it really does show that that they are taking those important steps, not only for performance, but for a greener future as well. And you can hear the music adding to the atmosphere. The crowds have been pouring in throughout the day. Bigger crowds today than yesterday. I'm pretty sure that's got to do with the weather, but you can see the heat haze from the camera now, and looking forward to seeing what Adam Lachko can do in the dry. He said he massively favours the wet, but having put it on what was at the time the second row of the grid, it's just very quickly evolved to the front row of the grid. It shows that he's not only got the pace in the wet, but he has the pace in the dry as well. You can tell it's Adam Lachko not only from the number 55, but with the Burgera Freightliners, they are all very similar liveried. But with Adam Lachko, he has the day glow green flashes to the trucks, obviously around the grille, the wing mirrors, the headlight covers, and the fifth wheel. Teo Calvert has all that but in blue, and Aaliyah Kolak, she has exactly the same truck but with all the flashes in red. So that is the way you can pick between the Burgera Freightliners. Just got to keep an eye on those timing boards being put up by our circuit staff. The green flag getting readied, and the field will be led away by the very pretty Iveco S-Way pace truck. And of course, this the Iveco S-Way pace truck really making leaps and bounds in the way of economic performance. So they're still pushing the limits of performance, but still pushing for a greener future as well. So great stuff by both the pace truck and the official truck, the Iveco S-Way and the Ford F-Max. The trucks now are rolling away from the grid, and we will very shortly have the grid for you now, the amended grid, of course. Bearing in mind, everyone's moved forward a position as our pole sitter has moved to the very tail end of the grid, riding on board with Heinrich Clemens Hecker. He didn't see much track time yesterday, only 3 laps completed in qualifying before he had a turbocharger issue that sadly they couldn't fix for race 1 or race 2, but he will be taking to the circuit today. We saw him out in qualifying, not necessarily the qualifying he was looking for, but he will start in 15th place with Norbert Kiesche alongside. That's definitely not really something you want, knowing full well you've got the championship leader sat right alongside. Norbert's aims for this race, like he said, get to at least 8th place and hopefully gets reverse grid pole. If you are new to the championship, race 1, or the first race of the day, is decided by the qualifying and the Super Pole in the morning. Super Pole is the top 10 from the previous qualifying session, and the second race of the day is the finishing order from the first race of the day, but with the top 8 reversed, if that makes sense. But there is the Iveco S-Way pace truck. Like it says at the bottom, official pace truck Iveco S-Way is powered by bio-LNG, which is 100% renewable. So that's absolutely brilliant. And of course, the FIA European Truck Racing Championship hoping to reach an absolute net zero in 2038 by the very latest. So it means there will be no carbon emissions produced throughout a racing weekend, which is absolutely brilliant. Everybody getting heat into the temperature, or getting some temperature into the brakes and the tyres, putting loads through the tyres just to get them ready and malleable for the start of the race. You need to avoid the curbs over the first couple of laps, of course. With the low pressures being there, you don't want to rupture a tyre or anything like that. There is Norbert Kiesche at the tail end of the order. Everybody working their way around now through the Villeneuve chicane. And I'm sure in just a few moments' time, I will be able to run you through the starting order for race 3 of the weekend, race 11 of this season. There is Jamie Anderson looking to work his way forward as well. Aaliyah Kolok will try and work her way forward. I suppose it will be very difficult, knowing full well you have championship leader just 2 places behind you. You will be keeping an eye on your rearview mirror. Keep an eye out for Steffi Halm throughout this race. She had a brilliant race 2 yesterday. And here is the grid. Jochen Hahn will start on pole position behind the wheel of his Iveco with Adam Lachko alongside. Row 2 of the grid is Sasha Lenz and Antonio Alberthetti. Row 3 is made up of Andre Kursim and Steffi Halm. Row 4 of the grid is then Theo Calvert and Shane Robinson, and Rene Rayner lines up alongside Jamie Anderson. On to row 6 of the grid, Stefan Faas has Luke Garrett for company alongside Luis Frequenco and Aaliyah Kolok. Then it's Heinrich Clementeca starting in front of original pole sitter Norbert Kisch. So that is how the 16-strong grid will form up, ready for what will be race 11 of the season here at Zolder. It's Jochen Hahn controlling the pace through the final chicane, the Jackie X-Bocht. Now running towards the line, we've got to wait for the red light to extinguish. We can see it at the bottom of the gantry. And coming towards the line now, race 3 of the weekend is away, and it's a good start from Jochen Hahn. He starts to pull a bit of a gap ahead of Adam Lachko, but it looks like Sasha Lenz is going to try and follow him through to the inside. That will evolve to the outside for the next couple of corners. Antonio Alberthetti looking to maintain that outside line, because like I say, it will evolve then to the inside for the next double right-hander. Riding on board with Heinrich Clementeca, you can see the number 86 of Luke Garrett in front, whilst also trying to chase down Aaliyah Kolok, working their way through. Of course, this is now going to be a roadblock for Norbert Kisch. A little bit of a moment there for Jamie Anderson, I think, and we've got a truck very, very wide. I think that could be potentially Theo Calvert running onto the gravel. Rene Rayner has to jump on the anchors in avoidance. Very wide there is Sasha Lenz. He was working his way up, trying to remain in 3rd place. At the moment, I think he's dropped down to about 6th place, because Antonio Alberthetti has worked his way through. So too has Andre Kursim, and as well, Steffi Halm. Door-to-door contact between the number 17 of Shane Brereton and Sasha Lenz, both of them off the road. I think we also had another truck work their way through, Heinrich Clementeca, having to take to the curbs in avoidance of the 2 trucks in front. I'm sure the stewards will be looking at that to make sure he didn't gain too much of an advantage. Still in the background is more contact, and there we go. That's the number 20 machine of Theo Calvert getting his elbows out, pushing back on Shane Brereton. There's damage on the pair of them. Race stewards will definitely be busy. Now looking at Norbert Kisch, looking forward. Look who that is in front of him. That's Sasha Lenz, championship rival, who has managed to drop right the way back now towards the tail end of the order. After, I think, one incident just bred another. Hard on the brakes in towards the Boulderberg box. It's still Sasha Lenz ahead of Norbert Kisch, but we're almost 3 wide heading through the hairpin there. There is Luis Frequenco with the best seats in the house, just watching it all unfold in front of him. Now riding on board with Norbert Kisch, who I think is side by side with Sasha Lenz. He's no longer in shot there. You can see the Tank Pool 24 Racing Scania of Stefan Faas in towards the final chicane now. Norbert Kisch up another position, and he's still pushing forward. A bit of damage aboard the Scania in front, so it seems like it's been quite a rough and tumble lap, but leading the way still is Jochen Hahn, pulling away from Adam Lachko. And now you can see Norbert Kisch still looking to work his way forward. In the background, you've got Aaliyah Kolok and the number 25 of Heinrich Clementeca sparring away. Still in it on the mix as well. He's Luke Garrett, side by side through turn 1. They both dip a wheel in towards the gravel, and all through the gravel, almost in the air, goes all 5.3 tons of Luke Garrett. Continues forward without too much of an issue. Hahn still extending that lead gap ahead of Adam Lachko. And Antonio Alberthetti following suit. You can see it's all hotting up in the background there. Sasha Lenz doing what he can to work his way past Rene Rayner. Can't quite force the error as of yet. Norbert Kisch still trying to work his way past Stefan Faas. They're side by side in the background. And we've got the 3-way battle for the final spot on the podium. Steffi Halm trying to make amends for, I think, an earlier incident, a little bit of damage aboard her truck. Norbert Kisch up the inside, late braking. There you go, position made. So Stefan Faas drops down into what will be 9th place. Kisch up another position. There is Jochen Hahn still leading ahead of Adam Lachko, Antonio Alberthetti, Andre Kursim and Steffi Halm. There is Theo Calvert under pressure from Shane Brereton, and Norbert Kisch with that position made will be trying to catch up to Shane Brereton now. Here is the incident at turn 1. A little bit of door-to-door contact between the number 29 of Aaliyah Kolok and Luke Garrett. So all through the gravel goes Luke. Eventually catches the grass, and I think with that surface change. It threw the truck in towards the air. He managed to keep it pointing the right way, losing a position. However, there is Luis Requenco with one hell of a puncher. And that looks like the front right-hand side of his truck. So the start of race 3 of the weekend for him hasn't really gone to plan. So he will be destined for retirement. So not really what Requenco was looking for. Onto the next lap goes Jochen Hahn, still followed by Adam Lachko and Antonio Albacete sat behind. Andre Kurzim still with Steffi Helm within touching distance. Then we get back to Theo Calvé and Shane Brereton. Here is Sasha Lenz looking to work his way up the inside of Rene Reina. Nothing really comes of that. You can see the damage aboard the number 77 machine. All through the grass again, and the gravel. I think that was Stefan Fast just running very slightly wide, still pushing forward, however, trying to keep on towards the coattails of Norbert Kish. You will see him come into shot now. There you go, he's massively closed up onto the tail end of Shane Brereton. So still looking forward now, and of course Norbert Kish at the moment is on reverse grid pole, but if he can carry on working his way forward, potentially into 4th place, it will sit him very nicely for race 4 of the weekend. Of course, all the trucks limited to 100 miles an hour or 160 kilometers an hour, so there's no real gain to be made on the straight. It's all about the braking, the turning, and then the exit you can get out of the corner. So if you can get up to 100 miles an hour quicker than the truck in front, you will of course gain a little advantage from that. Heading in towards the next turn, bouncing over the curbs goes Jochen Hahn, still extending that lead gap, 1.5 seconds clear as it stands. Adam Lachko following suit. Then we get back to Antonio Albacete as well in 3rd place. Look at how close Norbert Kish is getting now. He's got to set up this move over the next couple of laps. You can see the brakes steaming as water is sprayed on them in desperation to cool them down, ready for the next turn. Riding on board with the number 41 of Norbert Kish now. And he can't really get the move done as of yet. Shane Brereton driving a very, very wide MAN. And you can see just in front is Theo Calvert. So as soon as he gets past one truck, Norbert Kish has got the Bagheera Racing Freightliner just sat in front as well. So on the brakes in towards Jackie Xbox. That's a very late lunge from Norbert Kish. Is he going to get it slowed down? A honk of the horn letting him know he's coming through. There you go, position made. Norbert Kish up into 7th place. I think another little bit of contact on the exit, but Norbert Kish 7th place. Next target for him will be Theo Calvé. And he's going defensive in towards turn 1 is the Hungarian, decides it's not really that needed, pulls back towards the preferred racing line, grabs the apex, and that is definitely position secure. Now still pushing forward is Norbert Kish. Another little look up the inside there, already on the coattails of Theo Calvé. Back towards that lead gap, you can see it's yet further extending. 1.9 seconds drift is Lachko from Hahn. Then it's Antonio Albacete and Andre Kurzim. Still with Steffi Helm just sat behind. Then we get back to Theo Calvé, who has got Norbert Kish all over his tail. He looks towards the right, does Norbert Kish. That will be the outside for the Klein chicane. Last of the late breakers. Who's going to be bravest in towards this next chicane? Norbert Kish brakes very slightly later, but he has got to come to the attack. You can see the damage aboard Theo Calvé. Norbert Kish had a little look around the outside, but obviously he had to pull out of that move because the outside was never really going to work. It's just wide enough to get one truck through there, let alone side by side, but they give it a go in towards the Villeneuve chicane. We've seen it a couple of times this weekend. Norbert Kish grabs the brakes, allows the racing line to flow with Theo Calvé, allowing the racing to continue on. Great stuff from the Hungarian. All this battling will allow Shane Brereton to get closer, and Stefan Fast isn't that far adrift either, so he could get in on this little battle as well. There is Adam Lachko coming under pressure from Antonio Albacete. Of course, not massively happy with his qualifying, but it was enough to get him towards the front end of the order. Norbert Kish has got the ever-increasing intentions from Shane Brereton behind. All this battling is just slowing them down, allowing everybody to catch up. There is the rather second-hand looking Luke Garrett, being followed by Elia Kolok and Heinrich Clemens Hecker still following suit. There's our leader on to lap 4 of the race, pardon me. A black and white warning flag being shown. We'll have to figure out who that's for. Fast has already had 2 warnings for track extension. I think potentially that is another. Looking to the inside, then back to the outside is Norbert Kish, filling the rear view mirror of Theo Calvé. Both drivers doing what they can to remain in the within the track bounds while going side by side for quite a substantial amount of time. So Stefan Fast in the background will have to be really careful to not further extend track limits. You can see Norbert Kish almost a bit of an overlap there, heading in towards Canal Bocht, now in towards Lucien Bianchi Bocht. Very quick right-hander, very deceptive. Norbert Kish looks for the cutback once again. He tried it on the lap prior, he's trying it on this lap, almost a little bit of contact there. He's going to have to be much braver this time if he wants to go around the outside, but I think it's going to tell the same story as last lap. Yes, it is. Norbert Kish has got to tuck in behind and just be patient, allow the race to come to him. He has got the inside for what will be the Villeneuve chicane this time through, as long as he can stay alongside through this very quick left-hander. Hard on the brakes they go now. You can see the nose of the truck's diving. Norbert Kish much later on the brakes, grabs the apex. Can he get it slowed down? No, he can't. All over the gravel. He will have to hand that position back. Of course, you can't overtake after taking to the runoff. He pulls over to the left-hand side, lifts out of the throttle just enough to allow Théo Calvet to return to that position. Clever driving from Norbert Kish. They still push forward. There is Steffi Halm trying to stick with Andre Curzim, who is also trying to work his way forward on Antonio Albuquerque, who has got Adam Latchko for company in second place. There is Jamie Anderson still trying to keep up with René Reiner. A close little battle forming between the pair of them. Norbert Kish looks to the inside, then to the outside, helping himself to the rear bumper of Théo Calvet. It's going to be very tight if he wants to look to the inside. Forces Théo to go defensive, then cuts back to the outside. Norbert Kish will carry the superior momentum through the left, through the right, and now pushing forward towards the timing line once again. So 5 laps of racing in the book. And Théo Calvet will be on the inside for turn 1. Great defensive driving from Théo in that Freightliner, still with all that damage on board. Norbert Kish looks to the outside once again through Sternvogt. Bocht, if he's going to make that work, he's going to have to be really, really brave. Find the grip on the outside. They're still side by side. Jamie Anderson and René Reiner getting closer and closer together. There we see them come back into shot now. They're still side by side, very slightly off the road goes Norbert Kish. You'll have to be careful not to catch the attentions of race control. Did he get the move done all the way around the outside? Yes, he did. Are they still alongside, however, heading towards the Klein chicane? No, they're not. Tucking into the draft is Théo Calvet, and Norbert Kish up into what is now 6th place. Great stuff from Norbert. Still pushing forward now. And of course, he tried the cutback through Lucien Bianchi Bocht in towards the Klein chicane, and instead of getting it done on the exit, he thought, we'll get it done on the entry, and he's really made that work. He's already started to build up a little bit of a buffer as well, so that should make him slightly more comfortable in that position. Through the Villeneuve chicane we go, bouncing over the curbs, the suspension really being worked now. There's the damage on Théo Calvet's Bagheera Freightliner. It's still Hahn leading the way, 3-second lead now between himself and Adam Latchko. Dropping back a little bit is Antonio Albuquerque, losing touch with the first of the Freightliners. Then we get back to Andre Curzim and Steffi Halm. There's the lead gap coming through the final corner now, once again to complete another 2.5-mile rotation of the Zolder circuit. Jochen Hahn crossing the line once again. We'll see whether that gap has yet further extended. It was 3 seconds not too long ago. They crossed the line at 3.2 seconds this time through, so another 0.2 gain since the last time he'd been there. Is Andre Curzim coming under pressure from Steffi Halm. They've been very equidistantly spread as it stands, but I think now we are towards the halfway point of the race, it will really start to show who can manage their race pace maybe slightly better. Closest trucks we've got out at the moment, I believe, is Théo Calvet and then the number 17 of Shane Brereton. I think the pair of them still pretty close together. A very clever driving from Norbert Kish. He arrived at a battle, worked his way through it, and then left them while they were still battling. So the number 25 machine, that is Heinrich Clemens Hecker, has received a black flag for overspeeding. We saw it happen yesterday for Jochen Hahn. He received a penalty for overspeeding. And of course, the speed limits are there for safety, so it is quite a substantial breach, but a black flag there for the number 25 MAN. Through the Villeneuve chicane we go, and you can see a little bit of a lock-up there from Adam Latchko. Antonio Albuquerque still following suit. There is Andre Curzim, still with Steffi Halm in hot pursuit. There, more importantly, is Norbert Kish. Then we get back to what was a 2-truck battle, now into a 3-truck battle, led by Théo Calvet. Then we've got Shane Brereton sat really the meat in the sandwich at this point, because Stefan Faas is really quickly closing up to the coattails, with the recovering Sascha Lenz following along as well. Keep an eye on Sascha Lenz to see whether he can improve upon his position. Of course, all the way through the gravel he went just a few laps ago, so he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to work his way forward. There is Sascha Lenz. It's almost 4 trucks for that place now. René Reiner in a world of his own, trying to push forward. Then we get back to Luke Garrett and Jamie Anderson, and the very, very battered and bruised Alia Kolok. And then, of course, there is the number 25 black flagged Heinrich Clementecke for overspeeding. Back to this battle though, still it is Teo Calvet managing to fend off all the attentions from behind. And at the moment, the Goodyear Cup fight is between Calvet and Brereton. So the battle we're looking at the moment is, of course, the battle in the Chrome class. And Stefan Faas is also there as well. So in theory, we are looking at our Chrome class podium battling away. We've got to keep an eye on this little trio as it stands. Teo Calvet still leading the Chrome class, and still in what is 7th place respectively. Shane Brereton following along, still just about within touching distance. A little look up the inside. Then we get back to Stefan Faas and the recovering Sascha Lenz. And then there is René Reiner, still in a world of his own. Looking to the outside, there is Shane Brereton. Does he have another look to the inside in towards the Klein chicane? No, he doesn't. Still playing it safe. We've still got around about 5 laps of the race remaining, so there's plenty of opportunity for positional improvement. Jochen Hahn really dominating up at the top of affairs. 4.4 seconds clears. We've got yellow flags. Steffi Halm all the way through the gravel at the Villeneuve chicane, so she will have lost a little bit of time there to Norbert Kish. Back to this battle, it's Teo Calvet and Shane Brereton still nose to tail. Stefan Faas in hot pursuit. Sascha Lenz following along as well. Very quick on the yellow flags there were the marshals. There is Norbert Kish. After the gravelly moment for Steffi, does now mean that that gap has drastically come down. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen just how close they are, within a second of each other. So that will be the change of position for what will be 5th place. Norbert Kish really working his way forward. You've got to remember he started from the back row of the grid after putting it on pole position with an incredibly quick lap time. I think it was a 1:56.199, so a very quick lap time from himself. But of course, with the Parc Fermé infringement, he had to start from the back row of the grid. You can now see Sascha Lenz closing up onto the tail of Stefan Faas, who is still working the battle in front of him, trying to split the pair of Shane Brereton and Teo Calvet. This is the battle for the lead in the Chrome class, and of course the battle for the Goodyear Cup. Through Sternenwachtbocht we go. And a very wide Freightliner is being driven by Teo Calvet. I'm not sure how he's managed it. We have had a change of position for 5th place. Norbert Kish has managed to work his way past Steffi Halm. I'm assuming that was in Sector 1. We didn't see it as they crossed the line. The timing screen now updates, so must have happened towards turns 2 and 3. Now you can just see how close this battle is getting for the Chrome podium. It's still Teo Calvet leading ahead of Shane Brereton, ahead of Stefan Faas, who's got a quite erratic Sascha Lenz. I think he was braking in avoidance there. And of course we did see the black flag for Heinrich Clementecke for overspeeding, and it does mean he has been disqualified, so he will be removed from the race results. He'll be put down as a disqualification. But while all that's going on, this battle is still raging away. Teo Calvet still with Shane Brereton really pushing him around. Stefan Faas being ushered forward to this battle as well, through no fault of his own. Sascha Lenz is all over the rear bumper as well. In towards Volderbergbocht, it's still Teo Calvet, with I think Stefan Faas working his way up the inside. He got very, very close to the tail end of Brereton's MAN. And who can really blame him with Sascha Lenz hard charging behind him? There is Luke Garrett. No real attention from behind. Alia Kolok is losing a little bit of time, potentially because of the damage she has. Up the inside, almost from Sascha Lenz there. Trying to force the error, I think, from Stefan Faas. And somehow, it's still Teo Calvet leading this Chrome class, with Shane Brereton all over the coattails. And trying to continue the good results from this weekend is Teo Calvet. Of course, he won the Chrome class in race 2 yesterday. He won the Chrome class in race 1 yesterday as well. So he's had a clean sweep so far. But can Shane Brereton give that all up? Because he's really working forward now, really starting to put that pressure on. Here they come back into shot again. It's gone from 4 trucks for what is 7th place to almost a pair of sparring duos. You can see Stefan Fast still under intense pressure from Sascha Lenz. Looking this way and that into pretty much every single corner now. He's looking to the inside, flashing his lights, heading towards the Klein chicane, trying to force the error. Late move from Stefan Fast in defence. But Teo Calvet still with that piece of bodywork flaring around on the rear wheel arch. But Shane Brereton still pushing forward as well. And then we have Stefan Fast just sat behind and still with Sascha Lenz following suit. There we go, all 4 trucks, all nose to tail once again through the Villeneuve chicane. And then through Terlemann-Bocht. It looks like potentially Teo Calvet has started to bridge a little bit of breathing room, but now look at that, that's Norbert Kiesche all over the tail end of Andre Kursim, looking to pick up another position here is Norbert. So this will be the battle for what is 4th place. The gap opportunities, I think, for positional change. As we cross the line once again, go on to lap 10. There is the position change. Norbert Kiesche does get past Andre Kursim and pushes forward up into what is now 4th place, which is where I said at the start of the race we could potentially see Norby getting to. So that, of course, if everything remains as is, he will finish 4th, but also start 4th, as is the reverse grid race, the second race of the day. There is Jochen Hahn, 6-time champion, and really showing us how to do it. 5-second gap over Adam Lachko at the moment. Very well driven race he's led so far from the green flag. Adam Lachko really hasn't had too much of an issue. Antonio Albacete not too far behind, around about a second, maybe a little bit more. So potentially that could be the thorn in the side heading in towards the final few minutes of this race. But Norbert Kiesche doesn't really have to worry about Andre Kursim behind. Norbert has had the pace throughout the day, of course, with that new engine in the truck after finding the issue last night. The team working hard throughout the night, and I'm sure the early hours of the morning as well, to get that truck race ready. And it's really showing, having started from what was 16th place, and he's right the way up into 4th now. So Norbert Kiesche, the Hungarian driver, has driven a brilliant race so far. There's somewhat of a battle for 2nd place. Adam Lachko with Antonio Albacete just behind. You can see the gap that Norbert Kiesche has already built up over Andre Kursim. There is Steffi Halm, there or thereabouts as well. Currently sat in 6th place. Back to this battle, however, we've still got Teo Calvet somehow managing to fend off all the attention from Shane Brereton. And then we do have the Tank Ball 24 Racing Scania of Stefan Fast under ever-increasing pressure from Sascha Lenz as well. On to lap 11 of the race now. So the final lap being shown. There goes Andre Kursim with Steffi Halm just sat in tow. And then here we have Teo Calvet still with Shane Brereton behind. Stefan Fast following suit as well in 9th place, and Sascha Lenz in 10th. This, of course, is the battle for the Chrome Podium. So as it stands, as long as he can keep it on the black stuff and make sure he weaves in between the track limits, it should allow Teo Calvet to pick up another win in the class. The number 24 machine, that's Stefan Fast, received a 10-second penalty for overspeeding. So after already previously being given warnings for track extension, it's now been picked up by race control for overspeeding. So it's gone from bad to worse, really, for Stefan Fast. But Jochen Hahn through the Villeneuve chicane for the final time. It's eased off a little bit, the gap really hasn't been extending. You can see him avoiding the curbs now, just managing that truck home, making sure he gets back in one piece. A little bit of a drift, as is obligatory in these trucks on the final lap. Adam Lachko still sat there in 2nd place with Antonio Albacete in 3rd. towards the hairpin for the final time comes Jochen Hahn, rounding the corner without too much of an issue. There is Adam Lachko. Not really had much to do in the way of defence over the Italian the Spaniard, pardon me, of Antonio Albacete. And then following suit is Norbert Kish, Andre Curzim and Steffi Helm. But round the final corner for the final time in the third race of the weekend comes Jochen Hahn. You can see the massive drift on the exit. Manages to get the moment collected up. But Jochen Hahn wins race 3 of the weekend. A brilliant drive from the front row of the grid. Inherited pole position from Norbert Kish and led from lights to flag. A 3-second gap at the line ahead of Adam Lachko. Antonio Albacete crosses the line to finish in third place and round out your overall and Titan podium. And Norbert Kish recovers to 4th place with Andre Curzim in 5th. Here is the Chrome podium. Great stuff from all 3 drivers crossing the line. However, Teo Calvet, of course, crossed the line to take the win with Shane Brereton not too far behind. I think with Stefan Fars's penalty, he may lose out on that podium place. It will be tight, but Luke Garrett might just about inherit 3rd place in the Chrome class. All will be revealed when we do get the results through to us. There is the very second-hand and I suppose only really good for spares at this point, the number 29, Aliyah Kolak. I think she had a bit of a coming together with another driver. Good drive from herself, though. Still continued on with the damage to take the checkered flag. So good stuff from her. Finished in 13th place. There is our eventual winner, Jochen Hahn. Very well driven race ahead of Adam Lachko and Antonio Albacete. I think Adam Lachko, he's got it all going for him at the moment. Of course, winning in the rain, finishing 2nd in the dry. So a master of these trucks, very clearly. You can see Jochen Hahn over the moon with the first win, I believe, of the season for him. He's finished in the top 3 once this season so far, and he's had a pole position. But I think this is the first win for him in the 2021 season. So good stuff from the number 1 machine. Through the Villeneuve chicane we go, and just getting everything cooled down, ready for the podium celebrations. Everybody will return to the pit lane, or all the top 3 drivers from both classes will return to the pit lane ready for the podium. Very well driven from Adam Lachko. Antonio Albacete, really the dark horse in that one, was there or thereabouts, remained in 3rd place for a long, long while, and of course starting in 4th. It's just Sacha Lenz's shortcomings, and eventually Sacha Lenz crossed the line in 10th place. So after all of that, and a very gravelly moment, he couldn't really recover too far in front. Taking reverse grid pole, however, after amended results, is Jamie Anderson, I believe. We've got everything changing around on the timing screen, so I think we have had the change around in regards to timings. And on first glance, I do think Stefan Fars will remain on the Chrome class podium. And now heading in towards the pit lane are, of course, our top 3 drivers from both classes from race 3 of the weekend. I hope you enjoyed that one. It was thrilling to watch. Lots of action in the mid-pack, as is always. It seems like the top 3 seem to escape, but it's all going on in the mid-pack. There goes Norbert Kish, very good recovery drive from himself, and into the pit lane will come Teo Calvet, of course, winning the Chrome class with Shane Brereton alongside. We've just got to wait to see whether Stefan Fars works his way into the pit lane. It looks like he potentially has continued on, so who has taken 3rd place in the Chrome class? All will be revealed very shortly. There is Jochen Hahn pulling in towards the winner's bay, and I'm sure he will get out and be absolutely delighted to go and celebrate with his team. Bugera Racing have had a brilliant weekend. Adam Lachko, the win yesterday in race 2 and the 2nd in race 3 today, and then they've had yet another Chrome class win in the way of Teo Calvet. He's had a thrilling weekend so far. It's 3 wins from 3 for the Chrome class for the number 20. So far he has done everything he really needs to, and he will be starting on pole position, I believe. Looking at the timing screen, of course, the top 8 reversed. There he is, clambering out of the cab. Jochen Hahn, can hear the team celebrating with him, and over to the team he wanders and congratulates everybody. But Teo Calvet, on the timing screen, it says he finished in 8th place. So I do believe he will start on reverse grid pole. Very happy chap is Jochen Hahn. Another win to add to his collection. And the first win, I believe, of the 2021 season. So great stuff for Jochen Hahn and the Team Hahn Racing Iveco. Looking in the background, you can see all the teams celebrating. Standout driver for me in that race, I would say Teo Calvet, really, because he managed to fend off all the attentions from Shane Brereton. There is Adam Lachko celebrating with Jochen Hahn. Over to the team he goes. There is Antonio Albertetti celebrating with his team as well. So the top 3 drivers, Jochen Hahn, Adam Lachko and Antonio Albertetti. We spoke to Jochen Hahn's son yesterday, Lucas Hahn, I believe. We spoke to him in the pit lane, saying they're going to full focus for tomorrow and see where it leads us, and it's evidently led them to the top step of the podium. So we will very shortly have the Titan class podium and followed by the Chrome class podium. If you are new to the series, the Titan category is really for those pro drivers. If you've been a champion of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship in the last 10 years, that qualifies you. So does finishing top 8 overall in the last season. And if you finished better than 6th in any Super Pole sessions in the last season, or if you are a Platinum FIA categorized driver, upon other things as well, those are the main ones that qualify you for the Titan class. And if you want to qualify for the Chrome class, it's really those newer drivers that get welcomed to this series. The AM class, if you will, doesn't take away from their racecraft, as we saw Teo Calvet and Shane Brereton with a brilliant race today. And of course, the Chrome class is they get the Goodyear Cup as well. So far, with what will be 3 cups to his name, is Teo Calvet just from this weekend. Very, very successful weekend from himself. Adam Lachko came into this weekend 3rd in the standings. He will only further extend that 3rd place ahead of Antonio Albertetti. You can hear the support races heading out onto the circuit. So trying to make up for, I think, a little bit of lost time today. But of course, everybody has vacated the circuit. There are the 6 trucks, the top 3 from Titan, the top 3 from Chrome. We've got the Ford Fiesta Sprint Cup currently out and circulating. So if you are at the circuit, you do have that on the way. If you're watching at home, thank you very much for watching race 3 of today. We've got race 4 coming up a little later on. But before all that, we do have the podium celebrations to complete. The trucks being taken back to the paddock, and then Parc Fermé rules being applied. Of course, Norbert Kish getting caught out by the Parc Fermé rules a little earlier on. Just hearing from Babs, our brilliant almost reporter here at the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, that Luke Garrett is drinking a Capri Sun to celebrate his podium. And honestly, I really can't blame him. A very, very warm day. We do have an interview for Jochen Hahn. Down to you, Christopher.
Jochen Hahn, congratulations, your first victory this season. How big is the relief?
No, it's like, I'm very happy, you know. We work hard on it to come back to the podium. Now we are on the podium and on the first place. Okay, we are a little bit lucky. Nobby is faster today, and he have unluck in the time break with small problems. And from this side, I enjoy it, but normally I'm on the 2nd place. But we come back on the 1st place, that's very nice.
So what are your aims now for the season? The season starts from this day new for you?
No, the season is long, you know. In the end, we make the calculation about the points. So we are 7th on the championate. So we fight not for the title in the moment. But when we come back to wins, we make a new calculation. And at the end of the season, we look where we are. Maybe on the next race, somebody have big problems. And we not. Hopefully we not. Then maybe we are back on the title fight. So we don't know.
So you're going for the championship now?
Not yet. No, what I say before the race, we go to the race wins in the moment to learn, to develop and come back very strong. The time will become, we come back very strong, that's for sure.
Thank you very much and good luck again. Thank you. Yeah, back to you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. We do now have the results available to us. Jochen Hahn taking the win this weekend ahead of Adam Lachko. Then it's Antonio Albertetti in third place, taking of course a brilliant result. There we go. Norbert Kish sat there in fourth place. Andre Kurzim takes fifth ahead of Steffi Harm. Then it's Theo Calvet taking seventh place and the Chrome Class win just about in front, to the tune of about 0.4 of a second ahead of Shane Brereton. And it's Sasha Lenz recovering to ninth place with René Reina in 10th. And the final 6 positions are as follows: Luke Garrett, Stefan Fars, Alaya Kolak and Jamie Anderson. Of course, we did have, I think, a couple of retirees. I know we had the disqualification in the way of Heinrich Clemens Hecker and, of course, the retirements very early on for Larice Riquenco. But I'm sure in a few moments' time we will potentially have another interview, or therefore the podiums as well. So everybody just working their way in towards the paddock area once again under now Parc Fermé rules. So no interactions with the truck until they have been given the green tick next to their name, and they will be allowed to start preparations for race 4 of the weekend. Here is our overall and our Titan class podium. There is Antonio Albacete. Onto the podium comes Adam Lachko once again with his little helper. And then to the top step of the podium, your winner from race 3 of this weekend, Jochen Hahn. Great stuff from him. Like he says, he's just focusing on these race wins, getting the points, getting the research and development put in behind the Iveco. And then next season, come back even stronger. Now it's time for the national anthem of the winning driver. Massive well done to Jochen Hahn. In a few moments' time, the trophies will be held aloft for the, of course, media opportunities. Everybody can get their photos in. Goodyear caps worn and trophies held aloft. And then we get Adam Lachko evidently very happy with another podium. So caps changed once again. I'm sure trophies put down in a few moments' time, ready for the champagne. Of course, yesterday it was quite an interesting Chrome Class podium. Seemed like Theo Calvet getting rather used to the champagne. So caps taken off, corks popped, and then the celebrations can continue. There we go. So Jochen Hahn very happy with his first win of the season, and looking forward to hopefully continuing that trend. A quick swig, getting ready for the cool down, and then the warm up once again for race 4 of the weekend, the final race of the weekend, coming up in about an hour's time. But in a few moments' time, the Chrome Class podium will take place. The first driver on the Chrome Class podium should be Stefan Fars. So wait for flags to be changed and national anthems readied. And of course, the new champagne bottles and the new trophies put in place as well. I've got to say, I'm rather jealous of Luke Garrett having a Capri Sun to celebrate his podium. I think, actually, yeah, Luke Garrett will have taken that podium away from Stefan Fars, with Stefan Fars having that penalty. All will be revealed in a few moments' time. So trophies being placed on their respective steps. Flags have been changed. And yes, it does mean, looking at the flags, Luke Garrett will have taken third place. So third position, as the announcer mentions, Luke Garrett working his way onto the podium. Great stuff from Luke. That truck being shared with Tom O'Rourke, the MAN. But onto the podium goes Luke. I'm sure more than happy with his Capri Sun. The second place finisher from race 3 of the weekend is Shane Brereton in his number 17 purple MAN. And of course, for the third time this weekend, to the top step of the podium goes Theo Calvet. A brilliant weekend so far. Can he follow it up with another win in race 4? All will be revealed. But at the moment, main focus, that's for the third time this weekend. Theo Calvet takes to the top step. Now it's time for the national anthem of the winning driver. So there we go, a massive well done to Teo Calvet. A great race weekend from him, and in theory he's got it all to lose now, because he will be on reverse grid pole, so potential for at least another podium, potentially another win as well, of course, because anybody in front of him will be a Titan driver. But now it is time for the champagne to be sprayed, so lid's taken off and corks popped once again. And Teo Calvet, he's got to be getting pretty used to the taste of champagne after 3 podiums this weekend. I think actually make it 4, because he finished 3rd in the second race yesterday. So of course he was on the overall podium, and then the Chrome Class podium. The Goodyear Cup once again goes to Teo Calvet. Off the podium he clambers, so do the rest of the drivers. And race 3 of the weekend was an absolute thriller, and I will run you through some highlights now. So under green flag conditions, we are racing straight away. A great start from Jochen Hahn here at sunny ZOLDER this afternoon, and he led from lights to flag. It was all about this first corner. He managed to make it work, and then Adam Lachko almost got pushed out wide from Sasha Lenz. Sasha coming to strife a little later on. There is Jamie Anderson getting picked off by Stefan Faas, and René Rayner closing the door. There is the first little off for Teo Calvet. Didn't seem to hurt his progress, but somebody who was making progress, Norbert Kish, a great start and a great race all the way through. And here we can see side by side, almost 3 wide at one point, but there is where the battle really started to heat up for the Chrome Class podium. Teo Calvet somehow managing to fend off the attentions of Shane Brereton behind. Here is Elia Kolop and Heinrich Clemens Hecker getting closer and closer together. And then we saw this quite sizable moment for Luke Garrett, all the way through the gravel, all the way over the grass, and to eventually recover towards a podium. And there is the stricken MAN of Luis Riquenco after a very, very sizable puncher on that front right. Very late move from Norbert Kish, managed to make it work up the inside of Shane Brereton through the final corner. So that was one position made, and he only continued working forward from there. Next target was Teo Calvet, and in just the next couple of laps, that position was already made. Here we go, down towards the Klein chicane. He gave it a go around the outside on this lap, but he didn't really manage to make it work. He was later on the brakes. Most of the corners, he just was gifted the outside by Teo. Clever driving from the Bagheera Freightliner. And then just a couple of laps later, we saw Norbert Kies getting closer and closer and closer. And eventually, he tried the outside once again. Decided, maybe it isn't for me. Couldn't make it work on the lap later. And then it was just really monitoring the progress of Teo, realised that he was weaking towards the Villeneuve chicane, later on the brakes, but all the way through the gravel he went. So position made, but for how long? The space of a couple of corners it all lasted. Teo Calvet was gifted the position back. Clever driving from Norbert Kies. He swapped places and didn't lose too much time to Shane Brereton behind. Of course, Stefan Faas was in hot pursuit, so was the recovering Sasha Lenz. Norbert Kies still all over the tail end of Teo Calvet. Look to the left, look to the right, and pretty much tried to go through him at most corners. Here we see him trying to work his way around the outside at Stedden Vogt box. He was still side by side with him at Canal box, and then by the time he arrived at Lucien Bianchi box, position was made, and up towards the Klein chicane, position was definitely secured. In the background, you can still see Shane Brereton trying to pick off Teo Calvet for the Chrome Class lead, but nothing really came his way. Stefan Faas was following along as well, still with Sasha Lenz in hot pursuit, bouncing over the curbs when the number 41 Hungarian, still with Teo Calvet, just about within touching distance. Here is Steffi Halm, slightly outbraking herself through the Villeneuve chicane. Very easily done. Of course, we did see Norbert Kies do it just slightly earlier on. Back to this battle, however, we've still got Teo Calvet all under pressure from Shane Brereton, with Stefan Faas just sat behind. Sasha Lenz was doing what he could to stick with this battle as well, after recovering from quite a gravelly moment very early on in the race. And then that's when we saw the change of position. A little bit of defensive driving from Norbert Kies, but once he got past Andre Kersim, it was plain sailing towards the checkered flag. There is Jochen Hahn, working his way through the Klein chicane, heading towards the Villeneuve chicane once again. Very well driven race from himself, and hard on the brakes in towards the Villeneuve chicane he went, and just really drove his own race. Didn't really have to look in his rearview mirror once. There he is once again through the Villeneuve chicane. But while all this was going on up at the front, I say all this, it was very well driven from Jochen Hahn. There was still that battle for the Chrome Class lead, but crossing the line in first place for the first time this year was Jochen Hahn to take the win ahead of Adam Lachko, the second podium for Adam, and then Antonio Alberthetti taking third spot. crossing the line to eventually take the win in the Chrome class was Teo Calvé. A very well-driven race. Shane Brereton, had a great race as well, doing what he could to try and break the defensive from the Bagheera Freightliner, but couldn't quite manage it. Crossed the line in second place, and after a penalty for Stefan Faas, it meant that Luke Garrett took to the podium for the Chrome class. Now, I believe we do have an interview available for us from one of our drivers.
Luke Garrett, congratulations, your first season, and now the first time on the podium. How does it feel?
It feels brilliant. We've had some teething problems since Moss, so to iron them out and finish where we have is brilliant.
Also yesterday you had big problems. You all overcome these problems?
Yes, we had a technical issue with the gear stick, which I said on the grid, and we had a problem with the throttle pedal in the second race. So to try and get them all right and to finish where we have is just amazing.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Luke Garrett. First time on the podium, and we are back. The third race is over. We are back on 350, and hope to see you there. Thank you for watching and have a good time until then.
De Thierry Bouwse chicane, de eerste doortocht aan de start-finish is voor zometeen.